Have you ever had a really bad sales experience where the process left you feeling slimy or even manipulated? Well, what if I told you that there's a reason for that, and the reason has absolutely nothing to do with sales? Before we explore this training together, I want to invite you to share your questions in the comments as we discover the power and purpose of sales together. So why is it that so many people perceive sales as this manipulative, slimy thing, when in reality, effective sales skills are 100% responsible for every single penny that is circulating in the global economy today? Imagine this, okay? The only reason why anyone has any money is because somebody somewhere sold something for a profit. The only reason why anyone has any money is because somebody somewhere sold something for a profit. Recently, I made this statement and a student of mine raised her hand and she said, Rick, I don't know if that statement's actually true because I actually work as a secretary at my job in the way that I said, exactly, that's actually my point. The job that you work for, the company that you work for, even though you may not be a business owner yet, the company that you work for is selling something for a profit. Maybe you are a minister and you're like, well, the way that we make money is people give donations, right? Maybe you have a charity, maybe you have a church, maybe you have a nonprofit organization. The way we make money is people donate. Exactly, but how did they get money to give to you? They worked for someone that sold something for a profit, or they themselves sold something for a profit. So I'm telling you right now, this whole idea that like sales is bad, sales is slimy, sales is manipulative, I want you to begin to imagine the role of sales in a completely different light. So at the beginning of this video, I asked you a question. Have you ever had a bad sales experience where the process left you feeling manipulated or slimy or whatever? And the punchline is all of us have, right? But let me ask you a different question. And this is not a trick question, okay? Have you ever had a fantastic sales experience where the process left you feeling ecstatic about paying way too much money for the thing that you just purchased? Well, initially you might go, no, I've never had one of those before, but I submit to you, you actually have. Because here's the thing that you need to understand is bad sales experiences, everyone remembers bad sales experiences because they make us feel a certain way. But good sales experiences, they actually are done in a way that we think it was our idea. For instance, like I'm a sneakerhead. I love sneakers, and I'll purchase a new pair of whatever, Jordans. I'll purchase a new pair of this kind of shoe or that kind of shoe, and I really like them, right? And I'm like, man, these shoes are so cool. Some of the shoes I buy are $500, $1,000 per pair. Like that's really expensive for shoes, but I don't feel like the sneaker company ripped me off, because why? I really wanted this thing. I really like these things. And so I wasn't like, man, they're trying to rip me off, right? I'm like, these are really cool. I like them and I'm willing to purchase. And not only do I not go, oh, this sneaker company ripped me off, but now I'm like, yo, check out my new shoes. These are awesome. I love these. And I start telling my friends about it. The same thing probably goes for you as well. Purchasing things that you really like or that you really need. For instance, have you ever had like a toothache, right? Where your tooth is really bothering you? Well, where are you going to go? You are going to go to the dentist, right? And when you walk into the dentist with your toothache, you're not walking in there with this perceived reality that like, oh man, these dentist offices are really out here trying to just rip me off, man. I'm telling you right now, these guys are trying to manipulate me. They're trying to get me all slimy with their sales tactics. You're not doing that. Why? Because you have a specific need that needs a specific solution. Same thing goes for grocery stores, right? Have you ever walked around the grocery store pushing the cart like, man, this grocery store is trying to rip me off. I know it, right? Like, of course not. Why? Because you have a specific need that needs a specific solution. You see, many people think that sales is gross or bad, but the truth is this: God has set up the universe and the global economy to operate off of this principle. Become obsessed with serving other people with the good thing that He has placed in you. And in return, people will say thank you for solving my problem in the form of dollar signs. In other words, I like to say it like this: selling is good because selling is serving. Selling is less about convincing people and it's more about persuading people. Okay, now we've all had bad sales experiences where we're like, oh, that was really weird or gross. But we've also all had great sales experiences. We just don't remember those and we don't talk about those as much because honestly, the product that the person was selling was so great. When we purchased, we thought it was our idea. The sale was our idea. Like, man, I needed this, so I went and bought it, right? So when it comes to sales, bad selling is trying to convince people to do something for yourself. Good sales is trying to persuade somebody to bring tremendous value to their life, okay? Like, and when I say persuasion, think about this, okay? Every single one of us have friends or loved ones that maybe you're going out to a movie, okay? And you're like, yo, we should go see this movie. And the friend goes, actually, I just heard this other movie's still out. We should go see this one because of XYZ. And we go, okay, cool, let's do it. Would you say in that situation that that person manipulated you or made you feel slimy or it was a really gross experience? No, why? Because that friend was simply persuading you to do something, to go a certain direction that you were already wanting to do, a direction you were already wanting to go, right? So I want you to begin to think differently when it comes to sales. This whole idea that like sales is bad, sales is slimy. I believe that sales is one of the most noble, one of the most excellent professions that anyone can have because, as I mentioned earlier, this world does not go around without somebody selling something for a profit, right? But the issue is here is there is a big difference between bad selling and good selling. Selling that serves me, the person, like, hey, do me a favor and just buy this thing, right? That's bad selling. But then there's also a good way, a noble way, I would even say a godly way to sell things that will bring transformation to people's lives. And when we can become obsessed with serving one another, helping one another, taking the good thing that God has put on the inside of us and serving humanity with it, then the byproduct is they are going to exchange value with us in the form of dollars. We can solve their problem with our thing, with our product, with our service. In order for them to say, hey, thank you, that really helped me, that solved my problem, they will say thank you in the form of dollars. Like, guys, this is what happens at the dentist office when you have a sore tooth or a chipped tooth. You go there and say, I have a problem. They go, we'll fix it. And you go, thank you, and you pay, right? This is what happens when you go into the grocery store and you go, my family needs groceries for the week. And you go in and you say, I need groceries. And you purchase them and you say, here's my money. Thank you so much for selling me groceries, right? So this is the concept. This is the mindset. This is the frame that you need to begin to rethink the idea of sales with. So good selling is all about wanting to bring valuable transformation to somebody else's life, where bad selling or poor selling is where you don't care about bringing any transformation to the person's life. You just want them to pay you because you're just trying to stuff your pockets. There's a big difference there. And I believe that God only blesses one of those situations and not the other. In fact, check this out. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 26. This is from the New King James Version. It says this: the people will curse him who withholds the grain, but a blessing will be on the head of him who sells it. Hey, I really hope that you're enjoying the video. I want to invite you guys. I have recently created a free training teaching people how to make money online. My students are literally making anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and some of them even make hundreds of thousands of dollars, not in a year, but in a single day. If you want more information on how you can get started, all you need is a phone and a laptop. You can go to digitalproductacademy.org, or you can click the link below in the description. Guys, after you watch the free training, if it sounds like it might be something cool for you to check out, you can book a free call with one of my client success coaches, and they'll be able to help you more. Now, back to the video. Now, here's the thing. Many of you guys and gals know I come from a ministry background, a church background. I love the body of Christ. I am a believer. Every ounce of success that me and my wife have seen in business and in life in general has all come from the Bible. But there is a twisted reality in the body of Christ where a lot of Christians, and not just Christians, everyday people, a lot of people, but especially in this case Christians, they think that everything should be free, right? And they quote verses like, well, freely you've received, freely give, brother. Like, you shouldn't be selling anything. It should be given away for free. But the punchline is this. I have learned this the hard way on both sides of the spectrum. If you don't pay, you don't pay attention. What does that mean? There have been many, many times that I have scholarship people into my different programs. I've scholarshiped them into my different trainings, into my mentorships, and people just, they won't show up, they won't log in, they won't show up on the calls, they won't go through the trainings, and then they're wondering why they don't get any transformation. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because they didn't have any skin in the game. The Bible says your heart is where your treasure lies. It's very good and it's very healthy for people to pay for things that is valuable to them, because if you don't pay, if you don't have treasure invested in that thing of value that you believe can bring a needed transformation, then guess what? Your heart is not going to follow. See, a lot of times people, they think you've got to put your heart in first and then maybe your money will follow, but that's not biblical. The Bible says your heart is where your treasure lies. So it's got to be treasure first, then the heart follows the treasure. I've also been on the other side of this spectrum where I have been trying to get scholarshiped, or I've gotten something for free and I don't show up. Think about that. Like, if you had a car that was $500 that you bought from the back alley from some shady looking person, right? And it was like $500. I mean, you're going to let the birds go to the restroom on that car. You know, if it's hailing outside, you may not park it in the garage. Like, I only paid $500 for it. You're not going to take very good care of it, right? There's lights popping on the dashboard. You're like, it was only $500. But let me tell you what, if you had a $140,000 Cadillac Escalade, okay? That's actually what I drive. I got a nice Caddy. I'm telling you right now, that thing is getting hand washed every single week. Kids cannot be eating no crumbs in the car. That thing gets parked in the garage, right? I'm never going to allow the hail to be raining down on it. Why? Because things that you pay for, you put more heart into them. The same thing goes for sales. So with that being said, even on the front end of me scholarshiping people into my programs, and even on me being on the other side, on the back end, me trying to get scholarships, the punchline is this. Every time that someone did not pay for the thing that they believed and wanted to bring powerful transformation to their life, they never really got results. Why? Myself included. Why? Because the heart follows the treasure. Now, the opposite is also true, okay? Those people who have paid to be in mentorships, me, I have invested almost $500,000 just in the past couple of years alone in my own personal development, in mentorships and programs, so I could learn as well. Guess what? You better believe I'm on those coaching calls. I'm going through the courses. I'm showing up to the events. Same thing with my students. People who pay to be in my programs, they're showing up on the calls. They're going through the programs. They're making money. Why? Because the heart follows the treasure. So here's my conviction. When it comes to Proverbs 11:26, talking about there'll be a curse on the person who withholds the grain, and there'll be a blessing on the person who sells it. Let me take a few moments and break that down for you, okay? So recently, I had a friend call me up, and this person called me, and they were in a bit of a pickle. They were in some distress financially, right? You have this incredible product, this incredible service, but you're not selling it. So you're literally doing what Proverbs 11:26 says here, when you withhold the good thing that God has put in you. You're withholding it, so guess what? It's almost like you're cursing yourself to not be able to make the money that you need. So what do you need to do? So instead of withholding this and being scared to sell this amazing thing that can bring transformation, what you really need to do is you need to get on the phone, and this person, I could tell over the phone call, their spirit lit up. They're like, wow. Because I shared this verse with them, Proverbs 11:26. If you withhold it, there's a curse upon you. If you sell it, there's a blessing on you. It doesn't get any more black and white than this. This is how God set up the universe. This is how God set up the global economy, right? And instead of us just waiting around like, God, please give me financial breakthrough. And God's like, okay, well, it's not just going to poof. You actually have to have works with your faith, right? Because faith without works or faith without action is dead. So guess what you got to do? You actually have to go sell the grain, sell the good thing that God has put in you. So here's what happened. The person called at the beginning of the call. They're in a pickle. They're distressed. They need some money. They don't know what they're going to do. I give them this pep talk with Proverbs 11:26, and I say, listen, I literally said this. You need to sell your way out of this situation. So guess what the person did? The person got on the phone, started hammering the phones. All these people who already told them, I'm interested in your product, I'm interested in your service, called them up and said, hey, I don't know if you knew, but I also have this other product, this other service, and I would love to invite you to be a part of it. What do you think? Friends, the same person just 2 days later called me back up. I checked up on them. How are you doing? Did you make any sales? They called me up just 2 days later, and they had made $20,000 in just 2 days. Why? Don't for a second wonder why. Well, man, how come the finances aren't flowing? What's going wrong? Like, how come I'm not being blessed? Because when you withhold the good thing that God has put in you, really in a lot of ways, you're inviting a curse upon your finances. But when you sell the good thing that God has put in you, a blessing shall be upon your head. So my question to you is though we have all experienced bad sales experiences, and really the reason why is because whoever or wherever that sales experience happened that made you feel icky and like, oh, this is weird, chances are that person or that situation was probably trying to get you to do something that wasn't going to bring the transformation that you needed, and it was more about the money than it was about the person. And on the different side of that token, we've all had great sales experiences where we didn't leave feeling like, ugh, that was weird, that was gross. Why? Because that product, that service, that thing solved our problems. They really cared about serving us. We had no problem saying thank you with our dollar bills, giving them back to them. Friends, this is how God has set up the universe. This is how God has set up the global economy. It's when we become obsessed with serving other people at the highest level, doing everything we can to bring a valuable, quick transformation to their life. And the punchline is this: you cannot outsow the farm. What does that mean? Every single day that you are out there in life, if you are sowing value into people's lives, especially with the good thing that God has put in you, and you are sowing value, you're helping them, you have a sincere passion and heart to bring them transformation. Friends, I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised when you begin to reap dollars. This is how God has set up the universe. This is how he set up the global economy. And honestly, if you want to break out of the rat race, if you're tired of struggling, if you're tired of not being able to make ends meet, or if you're just tired of just barely having enough, like, well, my bills are paid, but I just can't get ahead. If you're tired of that, then what you need to do is get into sales, okay? So how can somebody get started with sales? Here are 3 very important quick steps that anyone can take in order to get started with selling. And now that you have a different perspective on sales, you don't believe that selling is bad or it's slimy. You now believe that selling is good because selling is serving, right? Now you can get started with these 3 steps. Step number 1, go sell something. I know it sounds pretty crazy, but the best way to get started in sales is to simply go sell something. You might be going like, I don't have anything I can sell. The easiest thing you can do, you could go buy a car, right, for $1,000, and you could flip it on Facebook Marketplace for $1,500, right? That's one idea. You could go purchase furniture, use furniture off of Craigslist, and you could flip it on Craigslist again for an extra $300, $500. Like, when you begin to understand, okay, I'm going to acquire something that I can purchase for a price and then turn around and flip it for a profit. What this does is it works those sales muscles on the inside of you Because chances are, let's go back to the car example, okay? If you purchase a car for $1,000, right? It's a lower end used car, but you know, there are $1,000 cars out there, a lot of them. You purchase this car for $1,000. If you list it on wherever, Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever, and you say, hey, the car is, I want $1,700 for this car, chances are the person's gonna go, hey, would you take $1,300? And you can go, well, the best I can do is $1,500, right? So when you learn how to even start at a low level like this and even flip things on the internet, right? I'm gonna buy this used furniture and flip it for a profit. I'm gonna buy a used car, flip it for profit. You can do this with clothing. My daughter's 14. She flips clothes all the time. She loves it, right? You can do this with baseball cards. My two sons are 8 and 6, and they love to purchase collectible baseball card type things and flip them for profits with their friends. You know, like anyone can do this, guys, but the punchline is this. You've got to start going out there and selling something, because if you don't, you're never going to get good at selling. So that's the first step that you can take in order to start becoming excellent at sales. Step number 2, if you are in fact bringing a true transformation or solving people's problems, and you become passionate about helping people by selling them something, you need to understand that you are worthy of charging people. Right? If you don't believe that you're worthy to make a profit, if you don't believe that you're worthy to actually make money in the marketplace, then guess what? You're not going to make money in the marketplace. In fact, it is my conviction that the level somebody makes in their income is directly connected to what they think their value or their worth is. Now you might be saying, I'm worth $1 million. Well, are you? Like, do you really believe you are? Because if you did, you would be a millionaire, right? You might be at your job right now making whatever, $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year. And the reason why you're making that is because that's what you believe you are worth. Now, here's the thing. When you work at a job, you can only go so high in your job because they're not going to pay you $1 million for every task that you do. But in the marketplace, in sales, you can literally come up with a product, a service, a program. I teach digital products to my students. You can come up with a mentorship, a coaching program, an ebook, a course, and you can say, hey guys, this course is whatever, $9.97. And you can sell your course, and people are either going to pay you $9.97 because you believe it's worth that, or people are going to say, well, my course is, you can get it for $7 if you want. And guess what? People may not even pay the $7 because you don't even believe that you're worth charging. If you're bringing a true transformation, if you're sincerely obsessed with helping bring value to people's lives, then you need to believe that you're worthy of charging. Now, you might even be asking, like, how does a car bring value to somebody's life? Or how does flipping furniture bring value to somebody's life? Of course it does. There is a person out there that is praying for a $1,500 car right now. There's a person out there right now who is looking and searching for some furniture that they could put into their whatever, bachelor pad, or maybe it's a single mom and she just needs a new couch or whatever it is. So yes, there is tremendous value all the way from the bottom, going all the way to the top. And guys, none of that transformation, none of that value is ever going to happen if you don't sell something, and if you don't believe that you're worthy of charging. Step number 3, a little bit of a shameless plug. Stay plugged into my channel here, like and subscribe if you want to continue seeing more trainings like this. We'll see you in the next video.